My fiancé said my disabled brother was an embarrassment and banned him from our wedding. I replied, "Thanks for the truth." Then I took the ring off her finger and canceled the wedding. She was left frantically apologizing after realizing her cruelty cost her everything. I, 32 male, am, or I guess was, engaged to Ashley, 30. We were together for 4 years, lived together for 2. The wedding was supposed to be in 3 months. It was a whole thing, 150 guests, a rustic chic barn venue, the kind of event her mother, Sandra, lives for. I thought I was happy, truly. You don't see the rot until the floorboards give way beneath you. My brother, Anthony, 29, is the best person I know. When we were kids, a drunk driver hit his bike. He was in a coma for weeks. He recovered, but not completely. He walks with a significant limp and has a slight speech impediment. It doesn't define him. He's a brilliant graphic designer, funny as hell, and has a core of pure steel. He's my only family. As our parents passed away a few years ago, he was, obviously, going to be my best man. Last Tuesday night, Ashley and I were finalizing the seating chart. Her mother was over, which should have been my first red flag. Sandra has a way of turning everything into a referendum on her own social standing. "Mark, darling," Sandra started, tapping a perfectly manicured nail on Anthony's name. "We need to discuss the optics of the wedding party." I just looked at her. "The optics?" Ashley jumped in, her voice unnaturally bright. "What Mom is trying to say is, maybe it would be better if Anthony could participate in a different way. Not as best man." I put my pen down. The air in the room went still. "What different way?" "Well," Ashley continued, refusing to meet my eyes, "the ceremony, it's the centerpiece, all eyes on us. The procession, the standing at the altar, it's a lot of physical activity." The subtext was a tidal wave. I made her say the words. "What are you talking about, Ashley?" She finally looked at me, her expression hardening with frustration, as if I were the one being difficult. "Mark, be realistic. It's gonna be awkward. People will be uncomfortable. The limp, the way he talks, it's an embarrassment. It's not the atmosphere we want." An embarrassment. The words just hung there. I didn't feel anger, not at first. It was a profound, chilling clarity, like a camera lens snapping into perfect focus. I saw her mother, preening with approval. I saw the 4 years, the shared apartment, the future I'd imagined, and realized it was all built on a lie. I was in love with a person who didn't exist. The woman in front of me was a stranger. I looked at her, and my voice came out quiet, colder than I knew I was capable of. "Thanks for the truth." I stood up. I walked over to her, and she flinched, maybe expecting me to yell. Instead, I gently took her left hand. She stared, confused, as I slid the engagement ring off her finger. It was my grandmother's. "What are you doing?" she whispered, her voice trembling. I placed the ring on the coffee table. "The wedding is canceled." I turned and walked to our bedroom, closing the door behind me. I heard Sandra squawk, "Well, I never." Then Ashley started pounding on the door. "Mark, don't be so dramatic. Mark, open the door. We can talk about this." I didn't answer. I sat on the edge of the bed and made the first 2 calls. The first was to the venue. I ate the $5,000 deposit. The second was to the caterer. Lost another $2,500. Then I sent a group text to my groomsmen and a short, carefully worded email to our shared wedding mailing list. Subject: wedding canceled. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the wedding of Mark and Ashley will not be taking place. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. When I finally opened the bedroom door an hour later, Ashley was sitting on the couch, sobbing. Sandra was gone. The seating chart was ripped to shreds on the floor. "I fixed it," she wept, looking up at me, her face a mess of tears and makeup. "He can be the best man. I'll tell him I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." But she did. That was the thing. She was sorry she got caught, sorry for the consequences. She wasn't sorry for the cruelty. She'd just try to hide it better next time. "You need to pack your things, Ashley." "No, this is my home." "I'm the only one on the lease," I said, the fact landing with quiet finality. "I'll give you 30 days. She stared at me, her grief curdling into fury. "You're throwing away our entire life because I was a little honest over him?" I just looked at her. I didn't need to say anything else. I knew this was just the beginning. People like Ashley and Sandra don't just walk away. They try to burn everything down. But I'm not the dramatic, hysterical type. I'm a planner, and I was already making a new plan. So, am I the a-hole? Update 1. First, thanks for the overwhelming support. It's validating to know I'm not crazy. A lot of you warned me that this would get ugly, and you weren't wrong. Ashley's reaction has moved from desperate apologies to scorched earth. As predicted, she didn't take the 30-day notice seriously. She stayed in the apartment, alternating between giving me the silent treatment and having long, loud phone calls with her mother about how I'm a monster. Small, petty things started happening. My premium Spotify account was suddenly blasting her sad girl breakup playlist in my car. She left her muddy Adidas sneakers on the new rug I just bought. Then, my favorite coffee mug, a gift from Anthony, was found shattered in the trash can. I didn't say a word. I just took a photo and added its replacement cost to a private document I'd started on my computer titled Damages and Debts. Then came the money. I got a call from Sandra. She didn't bother with pleasantries. "Mark, I've been looking at the receipts for the wedding. My husband and I are out nearly $12,000 on non-refundable deposits for the flowers, the band, and Ashley's dress. We expect to be reimbursed." I was prepared for this. During my initial cancellation spree, I had kept a meticulous record. "Sandra," I said, my voice even. "The wedding was canceled because you and Ashley presented a condition for it to proceed, that my brother be excluded. I did not agree to that condition. The failure of the wedding to proceed rests on your decision, not mine. I will not be reimbursing you for anything." She sputtered. "That's ridiculous. You canceled it. We have a contract with the florist." "Then you should take that up with the florist," I said, and hung up. The next day, I received a formal-looking email from Ashley, which I'm sure her mother helped her write. It was a list of demands. Reimbursement for the $12,000 in wedding expenses. She wanted to be bought out of the apartment for her half of the $2,850 security deposit. She demanded I keep paying the insurance on her car for the next 6 months while she gets back on her feet. Here's the thing, I'm a project manager by trade. I live and die by documentation. I replied to the email, CCing Sandra and her father Donald, who had been silent until now. Subject: refinancial arrangements. Ashley, thank you for outlining your position. To clarify a few points, as stated to Sandra, I will not be covering any expenses related to the canceled wedding. The decision to terminate the engagement was a direct result of the unacceptable conditions you imposed regarding my brother's inclusion. Regarding the security deposit, as you are not on the lease and have never contributed to the rent, our agreement was I paid rent/utilities and she paid for groceries. You have no legal claim to the deposit. However, I have attached a spreadsheet detailing your share of the utilities for the past 24 months, which you have not contributed to. This includes our shared high-speed internet/premium cable package and building service fees, totaling $3,150. Your portion of the deposit can be applied to this outstanding balance, leaving you with a remainder due of $300. The car is registered and titled solely in my name. I purchased it for you as a gift, but the ownership was never transferred. The insurance policy, which is in my name, will be terminated in 14 days, on July 5th. You will need to secure your own policy if you wish to continue driving the vehicle legally. We should also arrange a time to sign the title over to you. Finally, this is a formal reminder that your 30-day notice to vacate the premises expires on July 20th at 5 p.m. If you are not moved out by that date, I will have no choice but to begin formal eviction proceedings with the landlord. Regards, Mark. The silence was deafening. For about 6 hours, then my phone exploded with texts from her. It was a masterclass in deflection. "You're bringing up utilities? From 2 years ago? How petty can you be? You're trying to make me homeless and take my car away. You're evil. My father can't believe how you're acting. He said he's going to call you." Donald never called. The best part? I checked our old texts. A year ago she texted me, "Can you cover utilities this month? We'll pay you back next week. Promise." I had a screenshot. I had a dozen of them. This isn't about revenge. Not really. It's about consequences. She built a world where her actions didn't have any. I'm just methodically taking down the scaffolding. The spreadsheet was a work of art. I even included charts. The fight is far from over. She's still in my apartment. But now she knows I have a ledger. And I'm not afraid to use it. Update 2. The last 2 weeks have been a cold war fought over shared living space and social media. Ashley finally realized I wasn't bluffing. Her strategy shifted. She couldn't win with logic, so she tried to win with public opinion. Her friends started posting vague but pointed things online. Instagram stories with captions like, "So disgusted by how some men treat the women who love them," and "A good heart is worth more than a fancy apartment." It was childish, but it stung. A few of our mutual friends reached out, asking for my side of the story. I didn't engage in the drama. I just told them the truth, simply and without emotion. Ashley told me my brother was an embarrassment and that he couldn't be in our wedding because of his disability. I ended the engagement because of it. The truth is a powerful thing. It doesn't need embellishment. The tide turned quickly. One of her bridesmaids, a woman named Betty who I'd always liked, texted me. She said, "What? Oh my God, Mark, I'm so sorry." Meanwhile, the apartment situation was deteriorating. Ashley was deliberately being a terrible roommate. The move-out date, July 20th, was approaching fast. I spent that day meticulously packing every single one of her remaining belongings into boxes. I labeled them with obsessive detail. I moved them into a 10 by 10 storage unit I rented a mile away and paid for the first month. The deadline, 5 p.m. on July 20th, came and went. She wasn't there. I had a locksmith come at 5:30 p.m. to change the locks. At 7 p.m., she came to the apartment. Her key didn't work. She started banging on the door. I opened it. "Ashley, the deadline to vacate has passed. You can't do this. My stuff is in there." "Your belongings are safe," I said calmly, handing her a key and a piece of paper. "This is the key to storage unit 247 at Main Street Storage. Here is the address. The first month is paid for. After that, it's your responsibility." I also handed her an envelope. Inside was a cashier's check for $425. She looked at it, confused. "What's this?" she snarled. "I thought I owed you money." "It's your half of the security deposit," I said, my voice flat. "I've decided to waive the utility debt. Consider this a final settlement of all household and financial matters between us. A clean break." She sneered. "You think you can just pay me off?" "It's not a payoff. It's a calculated decision," I replied, letting a bit of the coldness show. "I want this over. More importantly, cashing that check will serve as your legal acknowledgement that our shared financial obligations are concluded. It closes the book. If you have any intention of suing me later, cashing this check would make that very, very difficult. The choice is yours." I saw the flicker in her eyes, the greed warring with the anger. She snatched the envelope. "This doesn't mean anything," she seethed. "I'm still going to sue you for everything." "That's your prerogative," I said. "But as of 5:01 p.m. today, you are no longer a resident. If you set foot in this apartment again, you will be trespassing." I closed the door. The banging continued for a while, then it stopped. I felt a pang of something, not regret, but a deep, aching sadness for the man who had stood in the same hallway a month ago, believing he was in love. Then I went and poured myself a drink in my father's crystal glass, and for the first time in weeks, my home was quiet. Final update. It's been a while. Life has settled into a new kind of normal. I wanted to close the loop for everyone who followed this saga. The quiet I felt that night after changing the locks was the beginning of the end. Ashley, predictably, did not go gentle into that good night. She lawyered up. Or rather, her parents paid for a lawyer who sent me a blustering letter of intent to sue for a grab bag of grievances. Emotional distress, breach of promise to marry, and the full $12,000 for the wedding costs. My response was simple. I hired a lawyer for a few hours of consultation. We drafted a single, concise response. It included a copy of the original lease agreement with only my name on it, the spreadsheet of her unpaid utilities, marked as waived as part of final settlement, a copy of the cashed cashier's check for $1,425, and the pièce de résistance, a sworn affidavit from Betty, her former bridesmaid, detailing Ashley's comments about Anthony. Betty had volunteered. She said people like that deserve to be seen for who they are. We sent the package to her lawyer. We received a second, much weaker letter back, trying to argue about shared assets, but my lawyer simply pointed out that her cashing of the settlement check demonstrated a clear accord and satisfaction, effectively ending any claims. After that, we truly never heard from him again. The car was the final nail. After my 14-day notice, the insurance was terminated. She must have ignored it, because about a week later, I got a notice that the car had been impounded for being uninsured after a minor fender bender. Her fault. Since the title was still in my name, the notice came to me. It stated that if the fees weren't paid within 30 days, the vehicle would be sold at public auction to satisfy the towing company's lien. I sent one final text to Ashley. The car has been impounded. I am not retrieving it. If you want it, you have until the 30th to pay the fees and register it in your name. Otherwise, the towing company will sell it at auction. I will sign the release of interest paperwork to allow the sale to proceed. She sent back a string of profanity. I didn't reply. She couldn't afford the fees. A month later, I got the form, signed it, and washed my hands of it. The fallout for them was, from what I've heard, significant. Ashley had to move back in with her parents. Without the car I provided, she had trouble commuting to her job in the city and ended up quitting. Socially, the story spread. The truth, as told by me and confirmed by Betty, painted a very clear picture. People saw her cruelty for what it was. Sandra's social circle got a front row seat to her daughter's spectacular implosion, which I imagine was the ultimate punishment for her. I saw Ashley once, about a month ago. I was at a coffee shop with Anthony. She walked in, saw us, and froze. Her face was a storm of anger and bitterness. She looked away, turned around, and walked right back out. Anthony just looked at me and grinned. Well, that was awkward. We laughed, and that was it. There was no lingering pain, no feeling of victory, just nothing. She was just a person I used to know. Life is good now. My apartment feels like mine again. I've reconnected with friends. I'm focusing on work. Most importantly, my relationship with my brother is stronger than ever. He never once made me feel like I had to choose, but he thanked me, with tears in his eyes, after it was all over. I told him the truth. It was never a choice, Anthony. It was a clarification. I heard through the grapevine that Ashley and Sandra tell people I'm a manipulative sociopath who concocted an elaborate scheme to ruin her life over nothing. They will never understand. They will never see the ugliness in their own actions. And in a way, that's the most satisfying conclusion of all. It proves I saw the rot clearly. It proves I was right to burn it all down and walk away. They can have their bitterness. I'll take my peace.